All right. Day 9 of Silent Hill 2 Remake. Cam hack playthrough. Currently in the motel. Jack's in. We just arrived here. Haven't really taken a look around at everything yet, or anything yet. Let's go stare at red squares. Why not? I love how much texture there is on the save points too. It's not just a basic square. Not just red. Got cold drinks. These vending machines. I went on a whole tangent in some other past streams and videos and stuff about vending machines in Silent Hill games. In Silent Hill 3, there's a particular, like, cold drinks vending machine. And it's based on, like, a real world vending machine. One that actually exists. Same, this like blue background with the bubbles and this particular font, everything is like identical. Always thought that was a really cool detail. But I went down like a whole rabbit hole because I had never seen one of these specific vending machines in real life. I thought it was like a Silent Hill thing. And then I just happened to be watching a movie. I was watching Blade Trinity. And there's a scene where they're walking through, I think it's a police station, and they walk past some vending machines. And one of them was like the cold drinks machine. And I was like, whoa, the Silent Hill 3 cold drinks vending machine. What is that doing here? And then I went down a whole rabbit hole of like, I was like, oh, maybe it's just a movie prop type of thing that they copied and used in Silent Hill, because there's other instances where they've done that. No, it's an actual existing machine. What are the instructions? How can we use the machine? Insert coin. Something, something. Push button for selection. Red light is visible. Something. It's not delivered. Please make another selection. Hog water. Pock water. I'm going to call it Pog water. Summer dew. Don't have Mountain Dew, but we've got Summer Dew. We've got Orangizer. Grapest soda. We saw these on a menu in Happy Burger. Thunder Taste. Now we're getting to see the actual, like, designs for everything. Summer Dew. Citrus flavored orange punch with kiwi. Natural flavor. And diet sweet soda. Orange and kiwi. Let's see, I know a mannequin is hiding out in here, ready to attack Maria once we open up the safe. It's not actually in here, so that spawns in dynamically once you interact with the safe, I guess. Take a quick check with Maria's model since she was loading in kind of weird last time, but I think since we're loading a fresh game and everything, yeah, thing is fine. Yeah, the music in this area, like that guitar. Temporal Fry. Ooh, that guitar. It's subtle, gives a desert oasis, isolated western town feel. It's so The Last of Us guitar that it throws me a little. Everyone... Oh, so those are like the common things that I tend to hear a lot of people say that it reminds them of, The Last of Us. For me, it reminds me of Diablo. It's very Tristram in its sound to me. Look at this guy over here. I mean, I just play Diablo more, like that's more ingrained in my mind than something like The Last of Us, which, like, I enjoyed, but I've played that game twice. I've played Diablo a lot more. The Manual of the Social Health Operator. Jar 615 Rinov. Something. Genital something. I think these are some of the like medical pamphlets that we'll also see in Brookhaven. Get where I can clip in. See what's behind it. Yep. Rinov congenital heart disease. A bunch of names on it. Charles something. Stuart something. Different authors. Vacation safety for all ages. Some paracetamol. Sanitario tiene quits. Yeah, we've seen some of these books and things in some other spots. I'm on keyboard and mouse. I'm not going to go through the trouble of trying to hook up a controller right now, though. Just going to deal with it. because I don't think it's going to work like that. Your health, our care. Visit Alchemilla Hospital, Central Silent Hill, Kuntz Street. So, little reference to Alchemilla, little partial map there. Yeah, we saw this in the pharmacy in town. It's also even got like a little picture of the ambulance there. Silent Hill 1 ambulance. Kuntz Street from Central Silent Hill in Silent Hill 1. Reference to Dean Kuntz. Madame Boutique. Betty's. Okay. Betty's Butterfly, Betty's Black Stocking, and Betty's Butterfly with Hearts. Things somewhat relevant to Maria. The butterfly imagery. The sort of seductive nature of like the stockings, the hearts. If anyone needs anything, I'm fixing the pipes at 107. I hope you find what you're looking for. Something, something, something. I hope you find what you're looking for out there. Hope you find the something of happiness. And the same text is repeated on the second page. Bond of happiness. I wonder if this is like a page or a quote from an actual writing, or if this is a little message from the devs to people doing what I'm doing, zooming in and looking at these textures, and they're like, hope you find it. Found it? Thought catalog. Whoops. See what this link is. Thoughtcatalog.com. Bianca Sprasino. 3 years ago, 2022. I hope you find what you are looking for out there. I hope you forgive yourself the mistakes you have made. Hope you find the kind of happiness that exists on your own terms. I hope you truly take the time to figure out what moves you, what encourages your soul. I mean, it definitely hits in terms of James's sort of story. Bianca Sparacino, the author of The Strength in Our Scars and A Gentle Reminder. I wonder if this is just an author that somebody on the dev team liked. assuming this author is not like a writer on the game or something. A writer from Toronto, Ontario. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's the same text for sure. I'll put a link to the description for the YouTube video for anybody watching the VOD. Want to read the full thing? Thank you for the source on that, Ancient Oleander. Same newspapers. There's the pens, shaped like an arrow, that we saw all over the apartments. Yeah, feels sort of like a message from Mary to James. A lot of the same sentiment in Mary's final letter, saying that she wants James to live for himself, to forgive himself, depending on the ending you get. But that's one of those things that still comes across in Mary's letter. First aid box. Saw one of those around the town earlier. A lot of same stuff that we were seeing in the apartments. And some other spots. We clip into the safe itself. There's the key. Cowboy boot. Cleaning house. Seen those newspapers already. More books kind of piled up here. A little different from the ones that we've seen on shelves. Orthopedic, ortho something. Uteroscopia? Higher medical culture. Medical Dictionary, 2nd edition. Uteroscopia. It's apparently a real thing. Second sight. Interesting. S10 TV. Find peace and happiness. Same dog thing. Synonym would be clairvoyance. Okay. hinting at psychic things. Could be a nod towards Alessa in Silent Hill 1. Could be a nod to the characters here, just the strange ways people are connected. Even though that's less of a sort of direct subject in this game compared to like Silent Hill 1. Cano Snails, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. Thank you, thank you. Where Whiskey, Yuna No, Ghosted Ghoul 524, Nick, and Kami Satsujin. Enjoy the subs, enjoy those emotes. Cano Snails, thank you so much for the support. Thank you, thank you. All right. A lot of these rooms are closed off, and so, yeah. You can see, like, this entire building. You're not able to access anything in here, so there's nothing rendered in it. Our Made in Hell vacuum cleaner again. Cleaning Lux. Yeah, little wicker basket with like dirty sheets in it. Get some dialogue with Maria here.
鍵が変ね。
何が変だ。
忘れて。なんとか開けましょう。
So right on the other side of this fence is the Borley house. And if you're going by the original game and Born from a Wish, Maria would have made her way from Heaven's Night over to the Borley house before or eventually arriving at Rosewater Park, which would have taken her right through here. So this is kind of assuming that Maria would have followed that same path as the original game, but now trying to come back this way, it's locked. So she comments that that's strange. She must have gotten through here. Sorry, Baldwin. Borley is Silent Hill 3. Ernest Baldwin's house. Like I said, I didn't get much sleep today, so my brain is kind of not running on all cylinders. I apologize. We'll do a little more focus on the looking, a little less focus on the trying to piece it together. I mean, you all can speculate as much as you want. Yeah, I'm dealing with a bit of brain fog today. Oh, I don't think we've seen this before. Krakowian. Lime water? Carbonated lime water? Seemed to be a real thing. else. Another label I don't think we've seen. Vitapol? Vitapol? Krakow, capital of Poland? Okay. I knew Krakow was capital, not capital, but a major city. I wasn't sure if that was a reference because the spelling is different. But another Poland connection there. Silent Hill must be in Poland. Well, Bloober Team certainly is. So they like including lots of references. You actually have some in the fridge? And this made me want one. Nice, Alistair. Oh, we gotta check out this room. And I'm kind of curious. Because there is, well, we get some interaction here.
いいわね。
この部屋何かおかしいな。早く出よ
ねえ、ゆっくりしましょう。怪物と追いかけっこするよりはマシ。
う。ああ、そうだろうか。
So, Maria comments that it feels cozy, but James says, you know, something feels weird about this place. When you revisit, well, first of all, just pointing out for the obvious for those who don't recognize it, this is the hotel room from Silent Hill 3 when Heather and Douglas finally make their way to the town. They stop off and stay in this room before figuring out kind of their game plan, with Douglas going to try to find Leonard Wolf's house and look into Vincent and Claudia and all that, whereas Heather's going to go check out Brookhaven Hospital. So Heather and Douglas stay in this room. You even have Douglas's hat sitting over here. Hanging out on the corner of the chair. And if you return here, once the other world has affected the town, there's a halo of the sun painted on this wall behind the wallpaper. Curious if we would be able to see it, if it's something that is actually just sort of there behind the normal wall texture. But I'm guessing this just loads a completely different texture with that on it when you visit. Doesn't look like it's layered that way. Like how the games are bleeding together in this room. It's meta, but in a spooky way. I mean, I definitely take this as just, you know, fan service. A little nod for the fans of Silent Hill 3. A lot of people take it more seriously. They try to argue this means a timeline where Douglas and Heather would have been here before the events of this game. I don't see it as anything meaningful, like in the context of lore. It's strictly fan service. It's just like a little Easter egg. People who played Silent Hill 3 will get excited and recognize it. And people who the remake was their first game will not understand. And just be like, why was there weird stuff in this room? Why did they have a little conversation? That's the thing. There's so much in this game that is directly meant to be fan service, so much so that new players, I imagine, must be so confused. Because all of the little, like, flashback things, whenever you encounter the little interactive points, and it'll show you stuff, little references to the original game, Easter eggs like this. There's a lot of things in this game that if you're not already familiar with original Silent Hill 2, if you're not familiar with other games in the series, which a lot of people, a lot of younger horror fans and a lot of newer fans, this is their first Silent Hill game ever. So must have been confusing. But still, cool room. Really neat, just inclusion. This room. Of course, the Maria classic outfit room. The big tease. They show you Maria's OG outfit. There's no option to unlock it or have her wear it or anything like that. You can also get some very different interactions with Maria, depending on what you do here. So the door itself is locked. I'm curious what'll happen if we just clip in and the window's not broken. Haven't broken very many things yet, so she still has exclamations whenever you attack things in the environment. If you break glass or break walls. Gotta remember, no money for the 5th onesie. Easy riddles. No money for the 5th onesie. Alright, so she does not react unless you have the window broken. She just kind of ran off. Breaking everything. There she is. There she is. So yeah, you've got a couple different things that can happen here. Bikurishita. So she asks to be let in, So you can let her in. Ada. Who comes in and looks at the old school outfit. Again, kind of drawing attention to it if you missed the Easter egg here. But yeah, the classic Silent Hill 2 Maria outfit. The Christina Aguilera special. Eagles on the coins. Part of the belt. The outfit was and still is so super ugly? I disagree. I like the redesign, but I also like the classic outfit. It is very of its time. This is something that Christina Aguilera wore to the Teen Choice Awards in 1999. And it absolutely looks like something of that era. Looks like a Toluca Lake picture. It's like one of the Derwent Water photos. Come back here, you can see she actually goes over to the closet. Starts looking at it more closely. Can I let the game world play? There we go. Fall Star, welcome. Thank you so much for that brand new Prime sub. Thank you, thank you. Very much appreciate the support. James and his flashlight back there through the wall while she's looking through the closet. Kind of an ominous shot. Oh, I think once you come all the way back that she starts... Because at some point she's going to grab it out of the closet and sort of stand here with it. Might be once we go back through. Is it because I picked up the note already? Just looking at it. I wonder if that's because I picked up the note first. Once you leave the room, she starts moving with you again. And coming back, she goes back into that animation. Interesting. I'm going to try reloading here and do a few different interactions. Let's do the same initial order. Break that. Open the door for her. Smash the door in her face. Okay, she starts looking in the closet. Not grabbing it yet. Grab the note. Yeah, now she did that like instantly. So you have to wait until she's in there and then go pick up the note. She picks up the classic outfit, waiting to show it to James. See what he thinks. And just sort of, again, fan service for people who know the OG. Little nod to that. Not a little nod, just a very, very deliberate one. I think you'd look good in this one. Wants James's opinion. But more than anything, she wants to show the player, hey, look, remember the original outfit? All of you fanboys who complained when those trailers came out and you didn't like the redesign? Again, the redesign has kind of grown on me. It's similar to one of Sato's original concept art pieces of Maria. For the time of the original, again, this outfit is very of its time. And I've always kind of liked it for that. I like both outfits. It's a shame there's not some way to utilize this, like to unlock it. Just as like a fun extra thing. The people who just like the OG outfit. And she even refers to it as a classic. It's a classic. Hangs it back up in the closet. Now if we revisit, she just ignores it. Still stands over here and waits for you. She doesn't interact with the closet anymore. So, let's look at another little variation of things that can happen there. window.
ね
Go inside.
え中に入れ
She
て
asks to be let in. Don't let her in. Oh, so they don't actually animate her going through the window. She just like instantly snaps into the room and is already holding the outfit.
次はドアから入りたいわね泥棒に入る格好じゃないわ
Yeah, so they don't even animate her climbing in during that segment. They just swap it once you get close to picking up the note. And just have her go straight for the outfit. But yeah, slightly different dialogue there. For anybody who didn't know.
ねえこれ似合うかしら
I think. Yeah, she still reacts like that.
傑作よ
Okay. Gotta remember, no money for the fifth onesie. That 0451? Yeah. And we have a mannequin just instantly spawn in, start attacking Maria. Help. James, help. Don't want it. It's bapping me with its stumps. Just Maria getting punched in the face by a mannequin. Go. And she's down. There's one of the rare game over screens if you actually manage to let Maria die. Outside of like intentionally trying to get her to die in situations, I can't imagine too many people actually legitimately let that happen. Wondered if the game would fail. Thanks for showing it. Oh yeah. This is one of the things that I tested in some previous playthroughs as well. Trying to see it a little bit sooner. Got drip coming off of the mannequin. It's like blood droplets. Bam, 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 bam. Quit it. He's fine. Do we know how her health works? Does she heal over time or anything? I don't know exactly.
よかった。
ええ、本当に。
I assume she's got some type of auto heal. Might be different on different action difficulty or combat difficulty. We can get some different dialogue here too. And I think that depends on how much health she has left once the mannequin pops out. Not in there until you open the safe. It's too bad I can't cam hack, like I can't activate the mod while... Yeah, it comes out quick. See, I know I've seen some alternate dialogue. Where she's like mad that you didn't help her fast enough. Okay, I need to like count the number of hits. And we'll save her right before the last hit. Whoops. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 stump slaps. On easy combat. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I'm fine. Instead of, I think you just saved my life. No? Still got that.
よかった。
ええ、本当に。
Okay, I'm gonna move on. But I feel like I've seen variations of that. Where she, like, gets pissed off. Yeah, it might only be on, different difficulty or something else. Try staring at the key next time. Machine shop oil can. Get your hands dirty. Retro supply. History cheat sheet. Interesting text for that. Yeah, it might only be scenarios when she's getting attacked in other parts of the town, which... Let's go explore the parts of the town. Rates, cable color TV, kings and queens. Isn't there usually a mannequin here? It doesn't spawn in until you get close. Yep, there it is. Just spawned in. Oh. And it, like, instantly goes into crouch when I resume the world animation. Ugh. Interesting breathing? I'm not so sure it's breathing. But for the sake of YouTube monetization, that's what we'll say it's doing. Aid kit. I love the, like, oil color effect. The ground in the garage. We've got some of the same posters and things that we saw in the other auto shop on the way into town. Workout. Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon. American something cycle. American car. Just headlights and wheels. November 1983. Multiple dates have, like, circles. 16th, 30th, Third is underlined. Yeah, and this is one of those things, it's just kind of feels like background. We've seen dates all over the place for the 80s and 90s in posters and calendars and newspapers. No sort of consistency on the year, and I feel like that's done intentionally. There was no specific year attributed to the original game. I think Bloober Team wanted to leave little hints about a fairly wide range of years. We kind of have stuff from like 70s, 80s, 90s, all mashed together. Calendar years are not consistent, no. Years in this game in general are not the same or consistent at all. What was that cheerleader chainsaw game? Lollipop Chainsaw? It does sort of look like Lollipop Chainsaw. Maybe somebody on Bloober was a fan, or maybe they just like cheerleaders. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to look at the assets, at these environments. Registered in 1980, vehicle repair shop. Can we get a good look at a tire? One of these loose ones. Outside. 92L. I can't read. Tubeless. Rotanga 2. We've seen lots of different kinds of tires. Costland. See if you can find a dot code with 4 numbers. It tells the week and year it was produced. I mean, we see lots of stuff like all-terrain, but I don't think we have any actual, like, dot numbers. Yeah, love the old station wagons. A few of these around here. Like wood patterning. I think they called them woodies. I've never heard anybody call a station wagon a woody, but maybe. We never really had a station wagon. Never really knew people who had one either. Back then. Radial tubeless, GTSP, some more tires. Yeah, Cosland, what we saw. There's other ones in the shop. the same ones that were on the car. Oh, we saw this model outside of Woodside Apartments with the light hanging down on the cables. Their Toluca delivery van. I keep trying to check these. Somebody mentioned an ID badge or something being visible in one of them, and I'm pretty sure I've seen what they're talking about. Just not myself, not on my own playthrough. Most of the ones that I've checked haven't had it. Supposed to be like a J Singer, a reference to Jacob's Ladder ID badge in one of those. You can see the little house built out of boxes. I'm pretty sure a mannequin hides in here later. Little box fort. Hey, what's up, Ram Ranch? Welcome. Here we've got School Bus 201, the Silent Hills school bus. Always felt like it's a little bit odd it's not a school district, or like specifically Midwich. Just Silent Hill school bus. There might be other schools in Silent Hill, but the only one that's ever, like, mentioned in the games is Midwich Elementary. Except for Shattered Memories alternate universe, and then Midwich is a high school. But it's still, like, just Midwich. Loading polygons up here where they thought no one would be looking. And actually, with all the junked cars and everything else around and the water tower, this little fenced off part right here, it reminds me a little bit of Curtis's junk shop in Silent Hill Homecoming. In Silent Hill Homecoming, there's a character named Curtis Ackers, and you have to go through his junk shop and talk with him and everything like that. And one of the things, he's got all sorts of broken cars and appliances, refrigerators and stuff like that around his junkyard. And there's an old water tower up in the corner of Curtis's junk, of his yard. And if you examine it as Alex, he actually comments on it, talking about how kids used to climb it and dare each other to jump off. Gives you a little bit of like fluff text about it. But it's similar to the way this one is designed. I mean, not that there's a whole lot of variety in like water towers, but it's kind of the same size and style of the one in Homecoming, from what I remember. Bags of cement. Made in Colombia, manufactured by Cement Inc., not INC Incorporated. Inc. For export only. Hey, Ray. Hey, Nub. What do you think Silent Hill 2 Remake was going for with all of the director's story in Brookhaven? The Warden. Plot in the prison via notes. I mean, that's kind of a lot to get into, along with some particularly out there fan theories. Um, Popularized by Rachel Ashman on Twitter, stuff like that. It's one of those scenarios where I feel like they were trying to incorporate some old fan theories and things as far as like other characters being parallels or aspects of James representing different forms of abuse, and I don't think it's meant to be taken quite so literally. Like, obviously, things are meant to be parallels to James. Like, things are meant to invoke aspects of James and the other characters, Angela and Eddie and Laura. Like, all of them have aspects sort of being projected into what we perceive as the player. But yeah, you could interpret it as the town sort of talking to James. There's notes in the original Silent Hill 2. It's not to the same degree that they do in the remake, but when you have the note that tells you to like go find the letter and the wrench, and you get the wrench to open up the box in Rosewater Park in the ground. There's a letter from the hospital director in the original Silent Hill 2, and it names, like, specifically calls James out by name, you know. And as well as if you revisit Bar Neely, you get the new writing on the wall saying, if you want to see Mary again, just die. But you'd probably go to a different place, James. So the town, even in the original, or some aspect of the town, is sort of communicating to James directly. So this is where a lot of opinions differ between fans. Warning, opinions. None of this is verified or confirmed fact by any developers or anything in the games themselves, but I personally don't think the town is sentient. I am not a fan of that theory. I think the town reflects what is in your subconscious. James is aware of what he's done. Like, he's going through a delusion. He's blocking aspects of his life out and what he's done out. But he's not unaware of it. It's still information that is in his mind that the town can take and reflect back at him. So the idea of those notes and letters referring to James himself, like, of course they know James because they're coming from him, in my opinion. But it's also meant to just sort of be something ambiguous and creepy. It's weird that you would find these notes and that you would find these other things sort of directly calling out James as a person. Because the director keeps talking about finding the cure or curing them. And again, little references to the original Silent Hill 2. You find notes about 3 patients, 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 3 Joseph Barkin, Jack something, Baker. There's like 3 different patients that you find notes about, and they're given names in the original Silent Hill 2. So I felt like it was a little bit more intended with the original, that they were meant to be parallels to your main characters. They all have symptoms based on the notes you find that are very comparable to James, to Eddie, to Angela. And the idea of the doctor, the director trying to heal them, you know, you get the, if he's happy in his other world, why must we drag him painfully into the world of our own reality? So like you have those different patients that are meant to be parallels to your characters. I don't think it's meant to be literal. I don't think it's meant to refer to James being a mental patient, or Angela or Eddie for that matter. I don't think it's a reference of James being the hospital director, the way like I said, some newer theories, a lot of that kind of proposed by one particular fan, Rachel Ashman, which I gotta say, like, in terms of ripping assets and finding things, cut content, things in the game files, things, doing what I'm doing, a lot of free cam exploration and sharing her findings, I give a lot of credit and a lot of props to Rachel Ashman for the amount of effort she puts into that stuff. But there's also a sort of disconnect with some of her really, really far-fetched theories based on that information. The way that she presents it, like, I think she's just sort of addicted to interaction at this point. She likes getting people to follow her on Twitter and like her posts. She's had a lot of Bloober team interact with her, and random developers interact with some of the things that she shared, and she sort of takes that as confirmation, like, oh, this person for Bloober team liked my post, so it means my theory must be true, and then presents it that way. I very much disagree with that type of attitude in the fandom, like, especially when it's like a playtester. Literally, there was one where the person she was citing was just like a playtester, not like a director, scenario writer, you know, somebody more significant with input on the game itself. And even if it is the director himself, like Mateus Lenart and people who liked and retweeted some of her stuff, I think they just like the interaction. They recognize her as a very dedicated fan. They wanted to share it around. Doesn't necessarily mean like confirmation of the theory that she's putting forth. Especially when you're including cut content. A lot of times content is cut for a reason. And like, I read it last time on a previous part of this playthrough, and it's in our channel Discord, in the Silent Hill info and fan theories threads. But there's an interview with Bloober Team devs where they said they did a ton of research on fan theories, and they did everything they could to try to include nods and references to every theory that they could find, even the ones they themselves didn't like or agree with. They're very inclusive when it comes to the fandom. They don't want to negate, or, for lack of a better word, they don't want to piss off significant portions of the Silent Hill fan base that get really sort of caught up in their own headcanon for things. Because they still respect them as fans, even if they don't agree with their headcanon. So it's one of those things where, like, I'm guilty of it too. I look around at stuff and read too much into it. But I always try to make it clear if something is a personal opinion or a theory. I don't try to present it as fact. I don't try to cite, like, oh, well, I've interacted with Masahiro Ito, so my opinions must be correct. Like, we've talked on Twitter. The environment artist from Silent Hill 3 and 4 visited my streams, so all the things I talk about in the environment must be accurate. No, it's not the case. But yeah, I think it's a matter of somebody sort of looking too much into things, kind of from one obsessive fan to another, and to others out there like that. There's a certain point where obsessive becomes too obsessive. And I've actually wanted to make a video about that. I've had rough drafts for scripts for like a year and a half, where I want to make a video about a particular subject, and that's media literacy. Because I've been researching these games for a very long time. I've gone down the rabbit hole of over analyzing and over making large assumptions when it comes to a lot of information and assets and things that have sort of skewed my interpretations of the series. And I've also spent a lot of years learning more and kind of correcting my method of analyzing and looking at things to be more realistic. Silent Hill Yellow Pages, 1992. Yep. August 1992. Silent Hill and Toluca area. Insurance, restaurants, Great Days Out. That map, that's the fan-made map. Is that the one that you actually shared in Discord? Yeah, it is, Ancient Oleander. It's literally a fan-made map. Because, I mean, there's the Silent Hill resort area. That little line extending out, it would be like the lighthouse and boat and everything in Silent Hill 1. This would be the little area where the Kaufman side quest, Annie's Bar, Indian Runner, all of that stuff is. Then you follow the road up. This would be Lakeside Amusement Park and Lakeview Hotel. So directly across from that, you can see the Rebirth Island. This would be Historical Society, Boat Launch, Nathan Avenue, going up this way and around the lake. I think it's good for everyone to try to write one genre fiction title, even if they don't publish it. It shows you how much the creator's own interpretation changes over time. Yes, even if you're not going to write like a full-on novel or something, I would suggest everybody play Dungeons and Dragons or play like a tabletop game and try making a game, even if it's just like a pen and paper game. Like, try making a game with a story and characters and world history, which for me tends to go hand in hand with like Dungeons and Dragons, but there's a lot of games and stuff like that. It really gives you a sense of how much stuff changes over time, and there's been so many scenarios where like I set something up for my players in a campaign and they interpret it in a different way than what I wrote it as or how I intended it. And sometimes I like their interpretation more than what I originally had written. So I will change that story based on that player response. And developers do the same thing. Like, when you're working on a game or a game series, especially something that's a sequel or a remake or something that's in a long line of other things in the franchise, you're not just making something off of your own interpretations. You are taking player feedback from all of the previous instances. All of those previous games. The way players interpret those things is going to influence like how you present them in your own game, in your own version. Usuda-san, Hiro Usuda is back. Environment artist for Silent Hill 3 and Silent Hill 4. Original member of Team Silent. Welcome back, Usuda-san. As for the map I just showed you, someone said it looks like the Izu Peninsula in Shizuoka. Shizuoka translates directly into English as Silent Hill. Yeah, I've heard that for the original game, Keiichiro Toyama came up with Silent Hill as a direct reference to Shizuoka. Definitely some similarities as well. The street layouts and things for the maps are very sort of grid-like, which is a lot more common in Japanese city and street planning. We're a lot less consistent with that in a lot of places in the United States, especially some of the older states and colonies and things like New England. And I do want to look over here. They sort of rearrange this little section here based on the original game, but it's rotated a bit. But this would have been the gas station. It's Octantis now. I believe was originally the Texon gas station. But there was a, you got the steel pipe sticking out of a car here. There's the book Lost Memories about the history of the town, the original Native American tribes. The town that existed here before Silent Hill was established. Which you find in New Game Plus inside the newspaper machine here. Yeah. Cool to see the map again. Gas pumps themselves. Some bullets. Moments before glass gets shattered. James just like staring hungrily through the through the back windshield at that tempting box of ammo. Use bullet to get bullet. Pete's Bolarama. Open 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Closed on state holidays. No smoking inside. We've got the classic Pete's Bolarama. Where in the original Silent Hill 2, you met Eddie and Laura, kind of. It's where James learns Laura's name from Eddie. Where you get the classic Eddie eating pizza, and you get a great bit of dialogue here.
ここで待っていてくれ。中を見てくる。
外にいてほしいの？
いや、入りたくないかと思って。
ジェームス、私と離れたいなら言って。
いや、そんなんじゃない。ただ、なんとなくだ。
So James immediately assumes that Maria would rather wait outside. So this time she's willing to go into the bowling alley. So in the original Silent Hill 2, one of the big things going on is that Maria is a manifestation. She's not real. She's sort of like the monsters and like Pyramid Head, and the same as those creatures are. Like, for example, Abstract Daddy. You have a scenario where James, a real person, is in an enclosed area with Angela, another real person, and they're both seeing a manifestation, but perceiving it differently. So Angela is seeing her father, Thomas Orozco, or something other than what James is seeing, according to Masahiro Ito. Most likely it's her father. James is seeing the Abstract Daddy, sort of the representation, symbolically, of Angela's father as that creature. Maria, presumably, would follow those same rules as a manifestation. If James was in proximity to another real person, that person would most likely perceive Maria as someone or something else entirely, or not perceive her at all, which would sort of break the illusion of her existence towards James. So Maria, very specifically, does not ever go into any areas where there's other people, where there's other real people. She avoids Eddie. She avoids Laura, even characters that she like cares for. So that's why she refuses to go into the bowling alley in the original Silent Hill 2. But this time, she's willing to go inside because there's nobody else here. Eddie's not here this time. Pizza has already been eaten. Box is abandoned. But it's a fun little like aspect of her character and what she is and sort of how the manifestations work. But it's also just a fun nod to the original, James assuming she wouldn't want to go in here, and then her sort of being like, hey, if you don't want me here, just say so. He sort of takes offense to it, thinking that he's just trying to get rid of her, which also kind of plays into, remember, she has Mary's thoughts and memories. Like, that would play into that feeling of James has already gotten rid of Mary once when she wound up being too much of a burden for him. Maria sort of implying that as well. Definitely thematically accurate. Hey, what's up with the rack on lane 3? There's some cloth clogging the hood and I can't pull it out. What is that crap? The balls are getting stuck by the end of the lane, so I guess it goes all the way through the under lane. I tried to push it with a pin, but I can't. I can't push the pin in there. I tried both sides. It's blocked. I can't. I like the way a lot of the notes around town sort of trail off. They make sense at first and then kind of gradually get more confused sounding. People start writing more simplistically, or it also kind of reminds me of Resident Evil notes. When you have like the itchy, tasty type notes where it's somebody who's already infected or dying. So as the note goes on, they just start writing less and less to the point where it's just like one word at a time. Itchy, tasty. Cold Dash, we saw that around town in the laundromat area across from Andy's bookstore. All the bowling shoes. Tension cord. Dirty needle. Different bowling balls. Everything marked. The bowling balls themselves are marked for their weight. Shoes are all marked on the back with their sizes. Return receipt. Another clock with 10 past 9. Fairly consistent, except for a couple of clocks throughout the game. Animated? It is animated. There you go. Enjoy the save point. Save point simulator. The save point lava lamp. Good wallpaper engine, animated wallpaper. Very faded poster or picture or something here. Low poly pins, let's go. Yeah, compared to a lot of other things, it's kind of interesting, the stuff that we find that's like unnecessarily high resolution, and then other things are super low poly. We must find the bulb. I'll be extremely surprised if we don't find a bulb in the hotel. Same register with that same receipt. Cafe Texan, Cat Street, with the time on it being 9:10:15. Cafe Texan. We've seen this, Oleander. Like, this is the same register in like every store around town. They all have this same receipt for Cafe Texan with the, I like the time being 10 past 9 and 15 seconds. It's still that Silent Hill 2 clock puzzle solution. Again, I feel like Bloober Team really wanted to make that time feel more significant for the remake, because it doesn't really recur in the original game. It's used for the clock puzzle and like nothing else. But for the remake, they use it like constantly. Every clock, every time, all, like, except for very few instances. They're all 10 past 9 and 15 seconds. And clip into the safe here. See this key. Just about read the note too. Nor will I be able to do so. Direct you to where it is. A place of care. Spite in a sea of suffering. Maybe it's Mary's time of death. So that's the most common theory around it. But again, that is something entirely created for the remake. There's no indication of that in the original. Low poly foosball. Let me see something actually, since we were looking at graphic settings earlier. I'm assuming bumping this up to like epic probably doesn't change that. Yeah. So you call it specifically foosball. In America, this is referred to as foosball. I don't even know what it's called elsewhere. Ah, the old cigarette machines. Oh, there's your Hemingways. Dude, they did reference them. Even though the cigarette packs that you find all over town are Sean cigarettes, they did reference the Hemingway ultralights. I was curious why they wouldn't reference that for the more common cigarette boxes you find around town, because Hemingway's, that starts with Silent Hill Origins, and then it's in like every game after that. There's a billboard at the intro walk into town in Origins that's advertising Hemingway's Hemingway cigarettes. In Homecoming, it's the brand that Curtis is smoking. In Shattered Memories, you find a pack of Hemingways in as a memento in one of the glove compartments of a car. In Downpour, it's the brand of cigarettes that DJ Bobby Ricks is smoking. Well, that you don't see him actively smoke them, but they're like, he has a pack in his shirt pocket, and you find packs around the environment. But yeah, there's your Hemingway ultralights. They did reference it, as well as Sabat, Red Spot, Minefield Lights, Rent Light, Black Pegas, West Virginia. West Virginia is where Silent Hill in the Silent Hill movies is located instead of Maine. We've got more down here. Some more Hemingway ultralights. My brain is melting. I'm sorry. It's been a rough day. Gleit? 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 Or Minefield Lights. Thought it was Pennsylvania? You're confusing Centralia, which was the inspiration for the Silent Hill movies depiction of the town. Pegas is Pegasus in Polish. I mean, I figured with the horse and the wings, it's a Pegasus reference. But yeah, I wasn't sure about that. Thank you for the translation, Sushkis. Insert nickels, dimes, quarters, and dollars. Purchase only, receive change below. See partner 1000. UTech or VTech. Sorry, maybe I just misheard. What did you just say about West Virginia? Want to make sure I have my own facts straight. I'll try to go slowly. So, in the Silent Hill film that came out in 2006, Silent Hill, you see Sean Bean like looking it up on a map and Rhoda Mitchell. It's located in West Virginia. Silent Hill, the games, are in Silent Hill, Maine. But the movie set it in West Virginia. The people who made the movie, Christoph Gans and his co-writer, Roger Avery, their depiction of the town, like Silent Hill, was based on the real-life place Centralia, Pennsylvania. So, Centralia, Pennsylvania was the inspiration for Silent Hill, West Virginia, which is unrelated to Silent Hill, Maine in the games. The original Team Silent members didn't even know about Centralia until years after the original games had released. Let's look at some pizza.
こんな時に一体誰がピザを食うっていうんだ。
It's even more convoluted than I thought. So, if you want another layer of unnecessary information, when they were filming the first Silent Hill movie, during film production and during filming, they want to keep fans away. They don't want people to know what they're working on ahead of time until it's ready for release. So a lot of times projects are filmed under code names, not the actual release title. So the Silent Hill movie, the 2006 movie, when they were filming it, the code name for it, the like secretive name, was Centralia. But yeah, the games are located in Maine. The movies are in West Virginia. The movies took inspiration from Centralia, Pennsylvania. The games did not. Pretty much the short version. Chicago was once considered as a place for the games. Yeah, there were some developer interviews that when they were doing location scouting, they actually were looking at places around Chicago during the development of Silent Hill 1. There's also a really good interview. Trying to remember who said it. I think it was Takayoshi Sato. It may have been Toyama. I don't remember what developer said it, but one of the developers was joking that they wanted a New England setting for the game, something cold by the lake, and because of that, they were location scouting cold little lakeside towns. And in that same interview, they were like, next time we'll set the game in Jamaica, like jokingly. As in, like, we would have a much better time going and scouting locations in a nice vacation spot like, Jamaica, as opposed to these like little cold lakeside New England towns. Can you imagine? I mean, now we've got Silent Hill Ascension, which takes place in completely different places. We've got Silent Hill F coming out, which is going to take place in Japan. We've got Silent Hill Short Message that takes place in Germany. Katzengott. So they're already the theme of the current games, sort of since the revitalization of the series, has been to break away from Silent Hill main and basically just have Silent Hill. It's not Silent Hill anymore. The thing is, I don't mean that in necessarily a bad way, the way a lot of other fans sort of do when they're like, oh, it's not real Silent Hill anymore. And I get that feeling for sure. I share a lot of that feeling if you watched my interactions with Ascension, but only to a certain degree. I think the big problem is that they named the series Silent Hill, which ties it so strongly to that specific location. At this point, they're not making Silent Hill games, they're making Otherworld games. It's not about Silent Hill as a location anymore. It's about the Otherworld being something that can occur in other places. That makes sense to me. The Otherworld existing in somewhere else, there being other strong spiritual places like Silent Hill where similar, things can happen. I understand that concept, but it's you're sort of tied to a location when that is the name of your franchise. Also, these all look like real photos. And the shirts and stuff, like the clothing, looks very 80s, 90s, sort of early 90s. Them shoes. Waiting to see how F turns out before I pass judgment on the new direction of the series. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what I want is fairly simple. I want good psychological horror games. Even if it's not necessarily like super accurate to all of the lore of every game that came before it, like that's a really hard thing to do. Think about that in terms of developing things. Like if you were put in charge of making a new Silent Hill game, what do you include? What do you not include? Which stories do you try to incorporate? Which stories do you think should be ignored? And think about, from a marketing standpoint, how many fans would be upset if you ignored some part of the story that they like. I don't like Origins. A lot of people out there like Origins, but it's not made by the original developers. It's not made by Team Silent. Even Sam Barlow, who directed it, was sort of against it fundamentally. But some people would still be upset if you made a game and didn't include things that were part of that story. And it's the same for like everything. So you're sort of drawn between wanting to make fans of the originals happy, but also wanting to respect fans of all the games in the series. So like, yeah, it gets really complicated. It gets kind of messy when you think about it in a lot of those perspectives. So like, more than trying to adhere to some sort of overall consistent concurrent line of events or plot or anything like that, which is essentially impossible to do. Like, even the games that were developed by Team Silent deviated and contradicted a lot of their own lore and plots because they were made up as the games went along. They brought in new people, the teams expanded, different people wrote each one. Even if you had, Ito doing monsters and Hiro Usura doing environments for 3 and 4. Like, even if you have consistent developers from game to game, the games themselves were made kind of each as their own thing, building on what came before it, but not with any sort of grand plan for what would come next. So none of the story is consistent. It never really was made to be that way. So expecting new games made this long after the series started to like adhere perfectly to established lore, that's just not possible. It's you need to, as fans, you have to sort of taper your expectations. Now, that said, I am not of the mindset that a lot of the current development direction is, where they think so much of the series has already been focused around this location, Silent Hill in Maine. So they feel like they can't tell any more stories here, so they're trying to branch it into other parts of the world. I can understand sort of feeling creatively locked in to maybe having to do things you don't necessarily want to do. But I don't think that this location is the problem. I think there are many, many creative ways to still tell stories that take place in Silent Hill. You have an entire history of the town. Like, a lot of you who watch my older playthroughs and streams and stuff like that, for many years I've had my own pitch about a Silent Hill game that takes place in the town before Silent Hill. In Silent Hill 2, you find the Lost Memories book, and it says there was a town that was settled in the same place as Silent Hill before Silent Hill was established. There was a different town here, but that town is lost to time. Nobody remembers its name because everything about it just vanished at some point. So I would want a game set around that little time period of the Native American tribes still being here and the first European settlers who came in, tried to coexist with those native tribes, eventually pushed them out and sort of corrupted that spiritual power for themselves. The early origins of the cult, that first town that existed before it was wiped off, what happened to it to make it wiped out of the history books, where nobody remembers even the name of it, and then what would eventually become the settling of Silent Hill. I would love a game set right there. I think there's lots of creative stories like that and many others that could be told that still take place in this familiar location, just much more distant past. You could do sort of much more distant future. There's a lot of different directions that you can go with this location and still tell interesting stories around it. So I got a lot to say here.
これから行く場所へは違う道。分かってる？この先は町の外よ。
分かってるけど、なんとなく彼女がいるような気がして。
そうなの
？And I will say I like the back and forth between James and Maria. You know, it's funny. There are, in the game files, a lot of unused bits of dialogue that sounds like things that Maria would have said or James would have said while they're wandering around the town and looking at things and interacting with stuff. There's a lot of unused dialogue and voice clips that were cut from the final release version of this game, but they're still in the game files. And before this game came out, I made a video called My Thoughts on Silent Hill 2 Remake based on the trailers and gameplay and everything that we saw leading up to the game's release before it was out. And in that video, that was one of my criticisms where I was like, okay, I like the idea of these characters talking and interacting to each other more, but don't overdo it to the point where it becomes the annoying side character constantly talking about everything. Like, you don't want it to be every little thing where there's too much dialogue, there's too much going on. You need those moments of silence. You need those moments of like tense walking through the town, listening to the atmosphere, hearing your radio go off. You don't always need somebody commenting on what's going around, because after a while that stuff can get really annoying if there's too much of it. So that was one of my criticisms from some of the early gameplay. And the fact that Bloober also was on some level probably aware of that too, and tried to avoid going too far with it, and even cut some lines. I think that's cool. It shows good awareness on their part for handling those kind of things. Can James do Jump of Faith here? I do want to see if it has collision. A lot of the rooftops and things that we've looked at so far, they do have collision. My controls need to reset. Oh, not this one though. Not this one. Can't skip into the Historical Society before getting the key either. Nothing rendered in there. Nothing interactive. Giga Computers, billboard from the original. Baby and Kids Superstore, discount prices, baby gift registry, parking in rear entrance. Yeah, a lot of these are billboards from the original Silent Hill 2, even down to the fonts and everything used. Silent Hill Fresh Meats. Loading trash pile. Nice. Where the road caves off. Caves in. Mind me, my brain is just kind of melting. Sorry, like I said, I'm dealing with a lot of brain fog today. Fell asleep without taking my medication last night. Had very little sleep after that. I'm kind of running on fumes today. All right. So in the original Silent Hill 2, when you're walking down this road that dead ends here, there are mannequins that are like hanging out here on the other side of the fence that throw themselves out and onto the street and attack you. And for the remake, they reference this by having some mannequins that are laying in the street dead after you come over here and examine this James corpse, grab this note. So what I want to try to do is set up the camera when we get over there to see if these mannequins are actually launching or if they just spawn in. I'm fairly certain a sound effect just plays and it just spawns them in. There's no like animation. Let's walk up near it and start bringing the camera back. Not there yet.
多分もう手遅れだ。
Pick up the note. Still not there. Ah, there's the sound. Yeah. It just spawns them in. Like I thought. I'm like, there's not enough time there where an animation would have occurred. And it happens where you can't see. Like, if they went through the trouble of animating it, they probably would have presented it in a way where the player could still see it somewhat. But still, it's a great little reference. Yep, there's the next one. You hear the first one hit the ground. Or was that just the sound effect repeating? Because I thought there was two of them show up. Miss the trebuchet mannequins? I do too. I definitely understand why Bloober Team didn't necessarily do that. They wanted to... They probably wanted to and thought that it looked too silly in this context, in this engine and everything else. So it's like, they still want to reference it, but they don't want to show mannequins just like yeeting over the fence. But at the same time, they've got mannequins that crawl over the walls. When we get to the prison, they're going to be yeeting themselves off of walls and ceilings left and right anyway. So, like, why not have them hanging out on a billboard and then, like, jumping over here? Oh, yeah, see, there is a second one. That one just didn't render in when I was looking. Empty landscapes and stuff. This road hasn't seen any maintenance in at least 1 or 2 decades, not even talking about the big hole. But that's one of those things that's, you know, that's kind of the whole deal with Silent Hill. What we're perceiving, what we see as a player, is not necessarily accurate to the reality of the town. We're seeing everything somewhat skewed through James's perspective, mostly James's perspective, but there's even things that we see that James doesn't seem to see, like the corpses that look like him, the apartment that looks just like his home. Even if he is completely mind broken in like a completely, you know, unresolvable delusion, being confronted with something like your own mangled body or you and your wife's home would warrant some sort of recognition, because he's not that far gone. He still recognizes like Mary's clothes on the mannequin and stuff like that, even if he sort of stops himself short before saying what they are. He like clearly responds to them. Oleander. Ancient Oleander, thank you for gifting a sub to Captain Zuri. Captain Zuri, enjoy the emotes, enjoy the sub. Wasn't there a cafe that did a Silent Hill event once? In Japan, there was a restaurant that did Silent Hill ramen as like a promotional thing. It was gray and disgusting looking, but I kind of wish I could have tried it. I love this little creature that shows up in the graffiti. This art style and just this very like little simplistic thing reminds me of a game on Dreamcast called Choo Choo Rocket. I used to play the absolute fuck out of Choo Choo Rocket. That was one of the first online console games I've ever played. Like, I'd played online games on PC before that, but the Dreamcast was like my first real console that could do online gaming, as it was for a lot of people. I can remember spending many days, many nights staying up playing Choo Choo Rocket online, getting absolutely wrecked by Japanese players. Hey, we found some bourbon. We've seen this bourbon bottle in another place. Your rye bourbon. Handcrafted. And of course, you still have the H and the T, the little star, the little parts of the sign that are still there. One little loop from the H. Yeah, Heaven's Night. The original Heaven's Night location. This little alleyway, and the stairwell and everything. And inside Heaven's Night, trees. Heaven's Night is now a strip club for Ents.
Nanda?
And I like that we get a little commentary there with Maria, acknowledging it as well, the deja vu. Again, some fans take those things to be literal, and use it to support headcanon or theory around loop theory. I feel like it's just fun little nods and acknowledgments of significant things, events, areas from the original, things that have been altered and changed for the remake. Where it's like, if you're going to change it, and you know fans are going to be upset that you changed it, have a little callback, a little reference, just to show that they acknowledge the way it was in the OG. I feel like this is a nice middle ground. Having these little flashbacks. Anything on the roof? Anything too significant? Got more of the blockades, the big white sheet blockades. Can you make James walk on the catwalk? On the blockades? Yes, but not the way you would think. I tried that in one of the previous parts. So you would think the collision is like here, but it's up here above the rail. Oh. Hi, Maria. Might be stuck now. Oh, we can just... Oh. That's actually kind of cool. So, somebody pointed this out during my story playthrough. The lighting here is very different and distinct depending on, like, your graphics settings. And this is where you exit the Reverie Theater after going through and everything. But look at this. We've already got the lighting. That sort of like dusk lighting after you exit the theater just by moving the camera over there. Whereas it's blue over here. So it's something that's sort of like baked in for this little section. Also, I love this color palette. I love this color palette and lighting and everything for the town. Very much reminds me of Silent Hill 3, which has a lot of my favorite environments and lighting and everything like that. Not saying that just because Hiro Usuda is here either. Like, Silent Hill 3 is genuinely such a beautiful and detailed game. And a lot of the lighting effects in it are just really, really good. But that initial mall setting with the sun going down, giving everything this very similar, you know, kind of peachy, orangey glow. Stuff I really, really like. Also, just me? Am I not? Oh. What's all this then? Why do we have mysterious stone pillars out here in the middle of nothing? Even like different ground textures. What's this? Wait, is this the prison? Is this where you would head downstairs into the prison behind Historical Society? Sort of looks like it. It's with the door and like nothing else obviously rendered around it. And that would make sense if that has to be put so far away from the rest of the town. to make the super long staircase work? All right, I have to know. Whoa. I teleported James. I thought I would be able to like look at the front of that door, and now we're in Rosewater Park. It's fine. Everything is fine. Need to teleport around. Don't worry, Maria will catch up. I'm sure she'll find her way. It is kind of neat seeing the way stuff at a distance gets rendered. Yeah, just a big floating hallway out there. Looks like the Daggerfall overworld. There you go. Nice little chunk of the town, Rosewater Park. Jack's Inn. There's the Silent Hills. They do exist. And the fog is like... You actually sort of descend into it. Moving the camera around. That's cool. The hills from Silent Hill. Well, I think we kind of explored what we need to explore there. That was a fun little detour into build mode, creative mode.
ジェームス、大丈夫？
What?
ねえ、どうしたの？立ち尽くしてた。
Maria?
ああ、平気だ。
Okay. Don't worry. Maria is still here. We just can't perceive her anymore. Does she normally repeat that dialogue? The only reason she said that is because I didn't... Like, I loaded a bunch of times when I was testing out the mannequin interactions and the hotel room upstairs. So because I loaded that file over and over and then came back and interacted with the save point, that's why we're getting that dialogue. Uh-oh. Loading the game did not make Maria appear. We may have to restart the game. Give me just a second. Probably comes back in the next cutscene with her. Maybe. Let's try just restarting the game. See if that fixes things. Nope. We're officially on a Maria-less playthrough now. She's lost to the void. Let's progress the game and just kind of see what happens. Aww. That's one of my favorite parts with Maria, and she's not visible. Yay. Her underwhelmed yay after unlocking the gate. In speedruns, she returns when you change location. I mean, it might function the same way. In speedruns, you don't usually abandon her in the never-ending void of out of the bounds. Like, usually when you leave her, it's because James goes out of bounds and she cannot follow. But because I actually, like, teleported them with the camera, I'm not sure where she wound up or how that will function. But it would make sense if she'll show up again, like, once we go inside Brookhaven. What I'm guessing is gonna happen. First, we're gonna look around Ernest Baldwin's house. A lot of neat stuff here. We've got the white chrism. It even says, "I deny thee." Get denied, death. I'm gonna reborn. We're gonna rebirth. See, like the broken bottle, because if you come through on new game, the bottle here is just broken. As opposed to New Game Plus, which we're on. You can actually pick up the white chrism. You can see Amy Baldwin's toys. Stuffed bears. The monkey, which we saw in the apartments as well. Don't think we had this wonderful giraffe, though. Try to see the other side of the bear. I think this is actually, like, marked or labeled. Yeah. RJ. There's the initials on this little diary here. RJ. Which would be strange. Because this is one of the things that, if you look at the actual asset in like a model viewer, you can see the file name for it. And this is listed as Amy's diary. Like, this is meant as a prop to be Amy Baldwin's. I'm not sure why the model itself has RJ written on it, or what that might be a reference to. Richard Gibraintree. Rick James. Inside, nothing rendered. What if it's one of the devs? It could be. Could be the initials of somebody who modeled it. Ernest Baldwin in his gigantic fucking house. Like the size of a city block. It's like the Shepherd House in Homecoming. You look at the map and like compared to everything, the Shepherd House is like one of the biggest locations. It's like bigger than Town Hall. Basketball. There's just sort of painted on textures onto the windows to kind of give the impression that there's curtains and an interior without actually rendering it. Cleanest gutters in the entire town. As trashed as everything is around Silent Hill. I think the gutters would be horrible. Same newspapers you've seen around. Some Heaven's Night posters. So these we've only seen in the bathroom, in the starting area, on the observation deck. Same as the original where those are located. The Heaven's Night posters with Maria. Also a very different looking version of the model on this one. Really different lighting. But the fact that they have more little Maria references right next to the Baldwin house, which was main location for the Born from a Wish playable Maria sub-scenario, the original. So, cool references. Maybe one day we'll get Born from a Wish remake DLC. Was there another eye back by the house? I'll check. That's what we're here to do. Where specifically? That, I'm assuming you mean that eye symbol that we saw on the back of the board. Painted on some concrete. Is it when I was going through this? Yeah, the one that was on the back of the Toluca, or the Rosewater Park sign. Saw it as you were running on the streets. Maybe that bit net door. There's stream delay, Oleander. You need to kind of be descriptive in what you're like how you're trying to convey it to me. Give me things in the environment, not directions. Corner, entryway, newspaper machines, up, down, left, right from those. Side street. Oh, do you mean this one? The little pyramid one? That's a recurring graffiti that we've seen in other places. That we've already seen. And then we're looped back around here to Woodside Apartments. Rosewater Park is right over there. Yeah, I'm not seeing... I think you may have seen this. Hey, here's the other half of the dog key, or the dog ending. See the dog bowls, bone, matching bone, which is part of the key, like the same as this. Doghouse, but there's no dog around. No, Mira's already in the control room. I like how there's random things in here too. Basketball, a shoe. The basketball hoop. No dog head. No bloody dog's head. We keep seeing things that sort of remind me of the Silent Hill 1 basketball court with the dog's head, but no actual dog head. Someone just put their furniture outside. Got rid of those red couches and love seat. Teleport back here. Bam. Give me this key. Do we fancy finger? No fancy finger. The other half of the dog key. Pondering my bone. Still no fancy finger. And once it is combined. It's like the first key where he doesn't do that. Like, we're starting to get to a point. A lot of familiar props. Same dead plants and garbage cans, garbage bags, egg cartons. Bloody containers. Tuna fish cans. A lot of that same stuff just kind of repeating in the environments. But never know where something a bit more interesting might be. They're fake chimneys. I love the fact that the houses and everything are like fairly detailed. In places you can't get to, like the back of this house, it's got like its porch and stairs leading down. Got some books. Let's see. The title? Easily. Extension cord hung up on the wall. Some cans. No bulbs. Another one of the folding Polish bicycles. Fuzzy dice van. No fast food in it. No, it's not Eddie's. Book and table set up there. Same newspaper we've seen, the opinions / facts shoved into the mailbox. It's fully open. Roadside flooded. Same one that we've seen. The drug addiction flyer, main news. Silent Hill Ranch chainsaw accident, paramedics, timely arrival. Another town map. All Stars Pizza. We did see this. It's even got a picture of the place where you pick up the chainsaw in the beginning. A little lumber mill. Lakeside Amusement Park is hiring. Stuff we've seen. I still like it. I still like those little references, but stuff we've already seen. Hey, Maria's back. Let's see if she actually comes back for gameplay.
ああ、だよな。じゃあどうする？
もちろん違う道を探す。
こっちだ。
ジェームス。
Goodbye, wooden plank. Still gets the pipe out of the hood of the car. That originally used to happen at the gas station. Now that sort of event has been moved here. Crawling away. Water heater. Squelch? We haven't seen... we've been looking inside all the car interiors and looking at all the dashboards and radios and stuff. We definitely didn't see one with a squelch dial until now. I would have remembered the car that had a squelch dial. Alt, fuel, brake, temp, oil. RPM. Everything else looks kind of normal. Except for the squelch dial. What is that even? I'm youngster? I mean, as far as like having an AM FM radio, that would be a thing. But there's squelch. Squelch is like a sound. It's like a sound effect. It's like a goopy, squeaky noise. sound of a bare hand reaching into rotting entrails. Lock. Turn up the squelch dial. Like line figures, they make squelch noises. Look at this squelcher. Okay. Also, Maria is back. The Return of Maria. Or the Return of Lady Maria. That's what it is. A flyer about Heaven's Night in Silent Hill 3. Can you shoot the pot? I want to find out, but I keep being rudely interrupted. Pot is invincible. Unless I'm just missing. No. That is a very tough bottle. It like did the glass break thing. It applied the texture. Okay, another dartboard. Basketball. Oh wow. We can actually read some of the stuff on the paper blowing around in the storm. London, Tuesday, July 26th, 1881. Jewelry. Sangster and Co. Does that say deaths, marriages, and deaths? Deaths, marriages, and more deaths. Oh, births. That makes more sense. Somebody's table salt? 1/2 penny. Strange. Tonga. A good dinner for something. A good... And then the other side is just the same thing mirrored. Interesting. I wasn't expecting there to be that much detail on a one of the papers just kind of like blowing around in the wind. Get the propane tank. Oh, wow. Sparks. Suede shoes. Bottles. Pushable cabinet. More basketball hoops. No bloody dog heads. Bikes. Nice straw, little like gardening hat. Their bag of soil, all their dead plants. We saw another thing like this on a shelf in the apartments. Like some kind of metal tin or case. It's got this little specific green fastener on it. Oh, there she is. Like, did we lose Maria again? And it's all her model, like, slightly blink into place so that she lines up the animation. Another Toluca Express delivery. Still no ID badge. Zoom out and gets a wide perspective for this cutscene. That's cool. Little different perspective on the scene. The outside world is still there. Mostly. Clipping textures. See our first little glimpse of the inside of the club. You can see the bar taps. That's like the main thing in his vision. Little reminders of James to little reminders to James, because he has dialogue in the original game that implies that he like fell into alcoholism, drinking a lot, to deal with the pain and the loneliness he was experiencing during Mary's illness. We still get implications of that in the remake. You can see the dream sign over on the far left as well. This is not a dream. What's happening to this place? Oh, there's Maria waiting for us. Low poly Maria. Knife and cutting board. Little kitchen prep area. That good strip club food. What do they offer? Grilled chicken, cheese and bacon, tomato soup, pizza, margarita pizza. pepperoni, capricci. Get a mixed green salad. Beer kegs. Numbers on the side. Some Murty wine, we've seen that. Monsterizer blenders. Nothing hiding in lockers. And no bulbs. Floral pattern on the oven mitt. We saw those in the apartments as well. There's Maria going through the stage door. It's Bolarama. Bob Tacker Dance Company. Aluka Light. Heaven's Night, Wild Wednesday. Come for a drink, stay for the show. Stay for the shoe. Stay for the show. All private dances. 30% off. What a bargain. Cafe 5 to 2. That's the diner in Silent Hill 1 where Harry first wakes up. Named for the a diner by the same name in Natural Born Killers. God is in TV. That a Throbbing Gristle reference? Hold on. That sounds familiar. I mean, it could be like a Marilyn Manson reference. But TV. Everything comes up Marilyn Manson. A what? You're not familiar with Throbbing Gristle, Ancient Oleander? It's they're an old industrial band, one of the like founding industrial music bands. And it was formed by a musician and artist and occult fanatic by the name of Genesis P. Orridge. So in Silent Hill 1, the drawbridge is the Orridge Bridge. Genesis P. Orridge, who founded Throbbing Gristle, also had another musical project after that band called Psychic TV. PTV, as it was abbreviated. That's where PTV in Silent Hill 1 comes from. It's a psychic TV. It's a Genesis Peorage reference. Today I learned, yeah. In when you go at the very end of the game in Nowhere, the room where you have your final encounter with Lisa and you pick up her diary, there's some shelves with cardboard boxes on them. If you free cam or if you use self view mode to look at those boxes closely, they actually say Psychic TV on the side of them as like a more direct reference to that. But yeah, several references to Genesis Peorage, Throbbing Gristle, Psychic TV in Silent Hill 1. And considering the heavy use of industrial music influence in Akira Yamaoka's score and soundtrack for Silent Hill 1, and I mean the series overall, but especially in Silent Hill 1, uh, I'm inclined to believe that's a little nod towards an influential band for Yamaoka. There's a naked man torso, Buff James from the original dog ending. Their lipstick? Yeah, there's a little lipstick mark on it. And some kind of pendant. Like the idea, she just closes the door. Just he's just standing there. Oh, we've got some writing on a new appliance. The Conan Corporation Noble NG model, 1000 watt, 150 volt, 5060 hertz, made in the USA. It's a hair dryer. Get hype, everybody. Finding hair dryers. Although, legitimately, there are so many cool little details in Heaven's Night. Kitten photos. And them key cats. There's writing on the grip. So there is. Warning, to avoid possible electric shock, do not use while bathing. That's true. Home un style. There. Black heels. Totally not a Silent Hill 3 thing. Yeah, maybe a little nod to the hair dryer in Silent Hill 3. Electrocuting the sewer monster. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe just a hair dryer. This couch is fucking nasty, though. Even compared to all the other couches we've seen so far. Who would have thought the one in the back room at the strip club would be extra gross? A red robe. Old Chinese food. Cleaning supplies. Shoes. Home videos. Strip club home videos. Pamacrani TVs. Oh, here's another, or possibly the same, just flipped over. Yeah, same thing, same asset, but flipped over. It's a boo hair. It's a boo hair blow dryer. Hello, on, off. Another cat photo. I imagine these just have to be somebody on the dev team's cats. Maybe they just got stock pictures that they thought were cute and put them in, but if I was a dev, I would just put in pictures of my own cats. Probably what it was. Another cat or dog creature of some sort. Actual stage and the pole ready to kill it. Hanging out drinking. Possibly real photos from developers, although they do use a lot of public domain assets and fairly kind of random stuff as well. Perfume bottles. Makeup palette. We have like a picture of a woman on the makeup there. Little detail on the top of it. And we got the children's photos, children's drawings rather. Love you, Mom. Way to go, stripper moms. This feels like a Shattered Memories reference to me whenever I see it. Because there is, in Shattered Memories, there's a location that can be a strip club. And if it is a strip club and you go through it, you find a similar back room with like children's drawings and stuff. Very similar to these. Couple kids sitting in a field. Nothing quite like early 20th century photos to add creepiness to basically anything. Yeah, I mean, Bloober Team's good at that. They've been doing that pretty much since their Layers of Fear games. Girl with long hair. Wearing a backpack, looks like. Woman's hands grabbing a man's naked torso. No kiss mark on that one. Here's that same picture that was on that other one. Oh, we have a date. We have a photo with a date in the corner. Sort of. But it looks like it's been edited. Like 18... Probably supposed to be 1982. But it looks like an 1882 or like 1862, but the 6 is backwards. Yeah, 26/9 European date format, which means it probably is an actual photo from somebody on the dev team where they'd use that date format in Poland. Picture of someone's dog. Be like a dog gate or a laundry hamper or something there in the background. Yeah, these got to be like dev photos. And past 9 and 15 seconds, another clock. Same time that we've been seeing. Another calendar. All these buff Jameses everywhere. Also, he's an elf. Or a Vulcan. A November calendar this time. $60 on the 7th. Cleaning on the 11th. $323.20 on the 19th. And Fantasy. Good old Fantasy. When the new Final Fantasy comes out. Trying to remember launch day. Some more like fashion bags and things here. Love that logo. Styles de tab. Get caught on the hook. Legally distinct Pac-Man. Hey, Chilig, or Chilag. First time catching you live. Love your Silent Hill vids. Hey, thank you. Glad you could be here. Glad you enjoy what I do. Makeup, nail polish applicators and stuff. I wonder, would nightclubs do cosplay event themes? A friend of mine used to be a dancer in a club, and she was also a cosplayer. We met through like conventions and stuff. And she definitely did shows based on or themed around anime or video game like cosplay stuff. Not necessarily an event by the club itself, but a lot of time the dancers come up with their own themes and outfits and routines and stuff, so it's probably a thing. Floral mug. These are definitely like real life locations. Are these places in Poland? That Italy? Terrible with geography. I am not. I am no Rainbolt. Get that flash of red light. Got some more of the mannequins that we first saw in the apartments. Again, the mannequins themselves, you can tell by the facial structure. These are modeled after Salome Gunnersdottir, the actress who plays Mary and Maria. Same like facial features as Mary and Maria. Only appropriate to have those come back here. Thematically appropriate for the area, the location, proximity to Maria. We got our arcade games, Defenders of Horizon. Like Space Invaders. Your fire button, properly labeled. And Trample, which feels modeled after like Rampage. Space Invaders and Rampage. Also, I like the variety. We've got the ball top arcade machine and a bat top machine. We even have little character portraits and stuff on there. Sort of reminds me of Metal Slug. To see if there's any little artwork or visible things on the side panels. Hard to control. Rotate. Trample. These are old school gamer nerd devs. Too reminiscent of old school cabinets I played 30 years ago. Same. Same. I used to go from the apartment complex I grew up in. There was a little video and game rental store, like locally owned, right around the corner. And they had arcade cabinets. They usually had Street Fighter 2, but then they also had like stuff like that, Space Invaders, classic stuff. Trog. I remember that was one of the first places I played Trog. Heaven's Night posters. Oh, they're a little different though. Different advertisement on this one. Every Monday night, second drink 50% off. Escape your start of the week worries. Get your drinks on discount and escape your worries. I feel like that's very intentional towards James drinking to deal with Mary's illness, which was a big aspect, or at least a mentioned aspect, in the original Silent Hill 2. Prodom fan? Flashing back to Galaga at the movie theater. Movie theater arcades were the other big one, yeah. Revolution X. House of the Dead. The theater we went to usually had like shooter games, like where you had an actual gun. It was it was usually Revolution X, House of the Dead, Police Trainer. Yeah, Time Crisis a bit later. Any Minmo posters? Not yet. Oh, this poster. We'll find a more like readable version of it later on. And we've seen some around the towns as well, but it says, "Don't let alcohol shatter your life." Love the lighting and everything in Heaven's Night. Nothing hidden behind. Oh, there actually is a private room rendered back there. Oh, because this one's like slightly open, so you can see. They actually did render in a little private booth. Cigarettes, ashtray. Bottle of whiskey. I think we've seen this whiskey bottle already, but teleport in here. Also the vent hanging open. The escape hatch. Original whiskey, European style casual wear. Something whisper. Top fashion of the world. Nothing rendered in this one, just a little empty room. Not completely unrendered either, which is always interesting. We've got the classic, just like very, very similar to the OG. It's ever so slightly reworked, but very similar neon sign as the original Heaven's Knight, the Paradise sign. Little hints towards Maria. Maria's design in the OG, her midriff is exposed so you can see her stomach more. And when Takayoshi Sato was designing the character, he specifically gave Maria in the original like a little bit of belly fat, just enough to where you see like a slight fold on the top part of her skirt in the original design. Something that doesn't really show in the remake Maria's design. It's one of the things I don't like about the redesign for the remake, is you kind of lose that aspect of her. But it was something that Sato wanted to include deliberately, to show like how imperfections also add to realism, that faces and bodies and things are not meant to be perfect, and he wanted to add realism to it. And he also wanted something to specifically distinguish that Maria, in contrast to Mary, who was withering away from her illness, that Maria was like portrayed as healthy by having just that little bit of her character design, that little bit of fat on her body. And it's conveyed through the Paradise sign as well, by having just that little bit of a bump on the stomach. And then a bunch of people on the internet who've never seen a woman in real life, who saw the remake, complained, and they were like, oh, it's woke, they added a pregnant woman to the thing. It's like, just shut up. Stop it. Interact with some real human beings and play the original Silent Hill 2 more.
Mario.
何？ちょっとそんな目で見ないで。遊んだだけ。
ここが特別な場所か。
まさか。ただ通りかかっただけよ。 でもね、せっかくだから
I love the framing of Maria next to the dream sign.
少し
Also,
の
I
間
like
だけ
these shots with the
一息ついても
wider
いい頃じゃない
camera.
いやそんな暇はない。メアリーがどこかで待ってるんだ。
そうね。
It's surprising how much the feel of the cutscenes
なんだかこ
changes
の街
from something as
悪夢みたいなん
simple as
だもの
like zooming the
少しの間
perspective
だけでも
like
見たく
slightly
な
out.
くてごめんなさい。
いやそれはもういい。
Like, look at this shot across the
そうだね
bar.
私はやっぱりこの街のせいだ。変だろうか。彼女がいるかもなんて。
確かにそうかもしれないけど、違う見方もある。
どんな。
希望。
そういいかもしれないな。
さあ、
何してる。
ほんの気晴らし程度よ。ダメ？本気？いいわ。勝手にして。それじゃあ。希望に乾杯。
Shots.
もうここを出よう。
いいわ。
That face, though. You can tell how difficult it is for him to not take that drink. I love that. The fact that you don't get the same dialogue as the original, where he just kind of flat out talks about his drinking problem, as like an inner monologue when you examine the bottles in Heaven's Night in OG Silent Hill 2. This cutscene does so much to still give you that implication of his character without saying a word. Like, just through those facial expressions. The mocap and the facial acting in this game are so fucking good. They're able to get across so much without, like, explicit dialogue now. Okay. There's still a lot of really cool things to look at here in Heaven's Night. But my head is killing me. It's almost 1 a.m. So, going to call it here for tonight.